Hey everyone, thank you for joining us on this Wednesday afternoon for myself. It could be morning or evening, depending on where you're at, I guess. But yeah, we have another stream of mission briefing, and today I'm very excited because this is a topic that I really don't have, well, I won't say really don't have. I have basically zero understanding of or have put effort into learning. And now that I say that out loud, that sounds terrible. But we're going to be looking at securing GraphQL APIs with StackHawk. And I'm going to save the explanation for my guest with me here today. I have Scott Gerlach. So thank you so much for joining me. Glad to have you.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on, Kurt. I'm super excited about this.
Yeah, me too. And so I guess without getting in your way, why don't you go ahead and just break down for us StackHawk, what it is, and
Yeah,
kind of what we can expect today.
for sure. So StackHawk started with the kind of notion that all these security tools that are out there that are helping doing security assessment of application code, all that stuff, really mostly built for security people. So
Yeah.
really hard to configure, no try and buy cycle, really expensive. So our goal is to go out and kind of squash that a little bit, make it a little bit more simple to configure a security tool. So we're focused on the dynamic application security testing area, so DAST, and we want to make a really powerful tool that has like thousands of configurations, really simple. So shorten down how much stuff you have to configure, enable you to run scans wherever you are, and consume that output very quickly to be able to find security bugs before you push them into production.
Yeah. Nobody wants vulnerabilities, right? Like, I mean, and it's funny because it's like even though it's a GraphQL API, like at the end of the day, it's an API, and you're susceptible to a lot of the same security issues as any other API, whether that's REST or whatever. Yeah, but it's funny because I don't really feel like they're looked at the same, and I also feel that because of the young age of GraphQL as a whole, the security community within GraphQL hasn't really grown, right? And like, so if we look at, a lot of other ecosystems, security now has been kind of like built up that community, right? And it's a lot more, I would say, like, I don't know, like just like prevalent, at least in my eyes, right? Like, I haven't seen a ton of people really talking about AppSec and GraphQL.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about a mature security community around some of that stuff. So REST API has a pretty mature community because lots of people have used it.
Right.
It's been around for a while. The trick with like a thing like Graph is it's super new, and if you don't have security people paying attention to it, it doesn't get a bunch of love in how do I do stuff
Yeah.
for good or for bad. And so we're trying to bring that forward a little bit. Lots of other tools have been doing some kind of best practicey stuff, but we're working on really actively testing GraphQL endpoints, which I think is pretty interesting.
Yeah, that I mean, I'm definitely interested. So, and since since we're all quite interested, why don't you kind of walk me through how StackHawk works, or if it's better to kind of explain it as we go, that's fine. I was just thinking maybe like a quick overview might be nice.
Yeah, sure. I can give you the quick and easy overview, which
Yeah.
is basically if you can get a running HTTP endpoint, so HTTP HTTPS,
Right.
we the scanner can actively crawl web pages or inspect GraphQL introspection endpoint in this case, or consume Open API spec for a REST API to
Okay.
be able to say, here's all the endpoints that take input and give output. Let's throw negative test cases at them. So there's lots of good people usually write good unit tests and integration tests for
The
positive test
happy
cases.
path.
The,
Yeah.
the happy path, yeah. And this is all sort of negative test case. Like, what happens if we send SQL injection commands into it,
Yeah.
or operating system commands, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Does it get handled by a GraphQL and the stuff that's behind it in an appropriate fashion to make sure that as end users are consuming that data, they're not going to be affected by a security bug?
Yeah, which makes perfect sense. And so something else that you touched on, which I had honestly forgotten up until now, is that this is not just GraphQL focused, right? Like you can also test REST APIs, as you said. And then you were talking about crawling web pages. Is this a matter of like looking for forms and things like that, and like other avenues of attack, other attack vectors, if you will?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, you're going to see when we run this, there's a bunch of stuff that we find that's not necessarily GraphQL specific, but definitely pertains to GraphQL security,
Yeah.
such as CORS policies and
Yeah.
content headers, those kinds of things. So again, as we crawl, regular web pages looking for forms, what can we input? What is it supposed to bring back? Those kinds of things. We're trying to build a pretty robust scanner. So as long as it HTTPs, we can scan. We can scan it.
Yeah, that's really cool. I love it. Yes, it's HTTP. You're good to go. Very cool. I mean, I'm hyped. All right, I'm not gonna lie. You got me hyped. So I guess like without further ado, let's get this going. Let's secure and unsecure some GraphQL APIs.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So I think the first thing is we actually have a repository that we can use. And actually, I think I'll link this now. If you're curious, like if you actually want to follow along, you can. There's a post right here from the StackHawk blog, and this is going to walk you through essentially what we're going to do, right? This is pretty much the same thing.
This is exactly what we're going to do.
Cool. So the first step here is just cloning the repository and having something to get started with. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, but we're not going to go through the doc. Scott and I are both here, so we're going to go ahead and just kind of he's gonna navigate, and I'll drive, and we'll go through setting this up from start to finish. And so you can either follow along with us, follow along with the post, or just kind of hang out. Also, if you have any questions and you're curious more about AppSec or something about the platform, drop them in the chat, and we'll get those answered for you as well. Cool. So I've got this kind of demo repo, and what I'm going to do is go ahead and open up the terminal. Boop-a-da-boo. And so cd projects, and then so someone I saw on Twitter, somebody did something cool, slight derailment, where they started structuring all their projects by the repo org structure, like that's behind that. So like if I ls mine, I just have a bunch of random stuff. But like in this case, because I'm cloning this example, like it would make more sense to have a folder for StackHawk, and then under there, like the projects, right? And then your file tree like is like a representation of your like GitHub structure.
It's more sane.
It is more sane, but since we're already here and I haven't been doing it, I'm just going to kind of YOLO it out right here.
Awesome.
Yeah, and one day I'll reorganize them, or maybe just like wipe everything and just re-clone it as I need it, right? Okay, so we've got this. So let's go into Vault. Hey, Trevor Blades in the chat. Thanks for joining us. And all right, so we're in this. Let's go ahead and open it up in VS Code. Okay, so first things first. Let me make this a little bit larger. There we go. And so what I'm going to do now is we have this here, but the first thing I'm going to do is get a live share session going with you, Scott, so that we can collaborate on this together if need be.
Great.
All right, so the link is copied. I'm just going to bring up Skype, maybe. There we go. And, oh, I almost ended our call.
That would have been an interesting live stream.
Really? It's like...
Thanks for joining. Bye.
Bye. And the chat button is right next to the end button. And I'm just going to say, like, that's... I don't know how I feel about that. All right. Okay, cool. So I've sent that link to you. And let's see what we've got going on. So we'll let you see if you can join. And while you're doing that, the joining, I'm going to go ahead and create some terminals so I can share those with you as well. Oh, look at that. Cool. So you join this session. We've got these two terminals. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to the settings. Let's make these available to you as well. So you can actually run commands in the terminal. You'll be able to, you'll be able to, talk about vulnerability. Yeah, you can run OS level commands on my computer.
No problem.
Yeah, right. And then let's see. So then that's all set up. So we're good there. So it looked like the next thing that I was going to do was start this up, or maybe like do I have to do npm install or anything? What kind of app are we
Now, the
working on
next
here?
next thing we're going to do, so this is all set up for Docker Compose. So the
Cool.
very first thing we're going to do is set an environment variable for the port that our vulnerable GraphQL is going to run on.
Okay. So
So that's just a it's actually going to be server underscore port equals 3000,
all right.
and then enter.
Oh, okay.
And then from there, now that we've got that environment variable set, we can do our Docker Compose. So we can just do Docker Compose up from here.
Good thing I have Docker installed.
Yes.
Oh.
Docker dash compose, sorry.
That's right. No, I'm sorry. I have not used Docker outside of Kitematic in quite a while. So are you familiar with Kitematic?
I know Kitematic. I wouldn't say I'm familiar.
Okay, so cool. I'm just going to slight derailment, but in case anyone else is interested, let me see if this is going to open. Hopefully it doesn't break Docker Compose starting over here. I think I have to fix. Okay. So I'm just going to bring this over here real quick. So this is Docker or Kitematic. And all it is essentially a UI to spin up a bunch of different type of containers that are here. So like I use this all the time when I need like a local database or like a Redis store or something like that. And it does all of the linking to the local ports for you, and you can change the ports in the setting. So it's pretty convenient way to, spin up some local Docker containers without being a command line wizard. So it's pretty fun, pretty neat. If you haven't checked it out, check it out, folks. It's in the Docker toolkit.
Yeah, I used to use that, and I more use the Docker desktop stuff now. They had Kitematic integrated into that, but their dashboard is getting a lot better.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know that. That's cool. Complete. Boom. So this is running. We're getting everything started up. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Service.
All right. So I think what we need to do is do a export server port. So up one more command history, and then do an export in front of that export.
Like that?
Space. Yep.
Oh, right. Or the other way I could have done it is put server port 3000 and then just run Docker Compose in the same command. And I think that would put that into the environment. All right, but now let's try this again. And
there you go.
Because all the containers have already been built, this should also be a lot faster.
Should go a lot faster.
Yeah. I miss Docker sometimes, which might sound crazy, but I like it.
We heart Docker. So all of the StackHawk stuff gets delivered via Docker. So wherever you can run Docker, you can run StackHawk, which is super cool because lots of those tools are very, like you have a VM and so you've got to have a virtual host platform somewhere.
Yeah. Or in your CI, like, can you run StackHawk in a CI environment?
You bet your bottom you can.
Exactly. So like being able to actually create a container, start it, and run vulnerability tests against it in your CI is pretty interesting as well.
Yeah, we 100% have a bunch of customers. I mean, that's where things are going, right? People are doing this already. They're saying, when I push code, I want to build that code.
I want to run
it. Integration test, security tests, like test, then push it.
Then push it,
so,
and then flip over to prod. Cool. All right.
You now have our vulnerable GraphQL endpoint running on localhost 3000.
Cool, which is really cool because if I go and show you live share, I'm going to share a server with you. And I think the way I do this, URL, oh, maybe it's just the port? Yes. Now you can go to localhost 3000 on your computer and also see what's going on. But now let me bring up the browser so that everyone else can see. Boom. And look at that. So we've got Graphql. We have a GraphQL API up and running. We can come over here to the docs. We've got our root query and our root mutation. And you can see we've got some data here. Let me blow this up a little bit. There we go. So yeah, we've got like a user, all users, looks like some posts. So kind of like a blog setup, it kind of seems we got going on here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Something sort of like that. Awesome. All right, so making quick progress. So what is kind of the next step here?
Yeah, so the next thing we want to do here is set up our StackHawk account and the configuration file for this particular app. So
okay.
I know you've already signed in to the StackHawk account, but we can walk through that with everybody. Yep. StackHawk is in open beta right now, so if anybody's on the stream watching and they want to get in here and do the same thing we are, it's open to get into and test out and have fun with.
Awesome.
But the very first thing that it's going to do is ask you to sign in. So you signed in with Google or GitHub or one of those things.
Yeah, GitHub,
which is great. And then it's going to ask you what the name of your organization is. And if you don't understand the context of that, that's great. Just keep going. I love what you've picked here. The worst dev.
Yeah.
It can be whatever you want it to be. So this is just the onboarding flow. This is how we get you up and running really quickly with StackHawk. So we're gonna ask you some stuff. We're gonna set up an API key. We're gonna ask you a couple of things about the app. Then we're gonna create a stub of a StackHawk YAML, which is our config file, and then show you how to deploy and run the scanner via Docker.
Awesome. Cool. So yeah, so I actually went through this before. So I have like a key that won't show up here that I'm using. So, but the next thing it's going to have me do is generate an API key. And I'm going to go through this, but I'll just delete this key later. But one of the cool things here is that it gives you the command to make this so it'll export it and essentially always be available. So you only have to really kind of put this key once onto your system, each system, and then you're good to go. Quick note, you will not be able to get this secret again. So if you need one key for more than one computer, you're going to want to store that somewhere very securely. Yeah, cool. So
we allow making multiple keys. So if you make one and you lose it and you're like, I'm stuck, you just go make another one.
Yep.
Delete the old one.
Cool. Yeah, so the next thing is this configure. No, seriously, I love this. Save your API key. yeah, it's saved. I promise. Shaboop.
All right.
Cool. And this is kind of where we left off. This is as far as I've made it into StackHawk. So
far so good. So this is just basic information, and so we're asking you for the name of your application. So you can name this whatever.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. You can name it the name of the repo. You can name it the name of the application. In this particular case, you can do Volney demo or whatever.
Yeah.
App environment is interesting because we allow you to scan in multiple stages. You could have multiple scanners running and compare different environments.
Okay.
So obviously development is a good one for you, and that's obviously where we recommend people start. Then the host part is just where can I find the running app? In our case, it's just http://localhost:3000.
Got it. Oh, and so this is kind of like URL safe listing, so then it like knows if it's within that URL, because like this is remote.
It does that as well, but really it's where can I find the running app to test against.
Got you. Okay. All right, so let's deploy and scan.
So the next thing you got here is a download. So you can download that YAML file and stick that in your project directory with the rest of the GitHub repo information we cloned.
So that's brought that up in Finder. So what I'm going to do is bring up VS Code, and it's just going to go, I would imagine, right into the root of the project. Is this correct?
You got it.
All right. Yep. So I'm just going to drag it over here. Cool. Now we got a YAML file. All right.
Now we got a YAML file. So the important things to note here, we output this stuff. That application ID is really how we bucket things in the StackHawk portal.
Right.
So as you make more applications, you can get more specific around what these things are. Again, you can see that environment variable that we set there was development.
Yep.
And then the host thing that we had talked about and exported to localhost 3000.
Yeah.
So we're almost there.
Yeah,
There's
cool.
only a couple more things. If you jump back to the platform real quick.
Sure thing.
So we've downloaded that YAML file, and then the next set of commands right there is how to run the scanner. So we can work on our GraphQL configuration because this is not ready for GraphQL yet, but then we'll come back in here and pick that Docker command up so that we can run the scanner.
Got it. And so now I started up my terminal after I've already added my key, so I shouldn't need to run the source command, right? Because that's going to be available.
You probably would, because if you wanted it to be loaded into every session,
yeah,
you'd have to add it to your, in your case, ZSHRC.
Yep.
To do exactly that. But if you don't want it on every session, then you'd need to source it to get it into the environment variable.
Got it. The step.
So you'll probably need to do it.
I thought the step previously added that export for you.
What that did was build that hawk.rc file.
Okay.
So inside of hawk.rc is the export and your key.
Got it. Okay, cool. All right, so I will take this. I should run this one then, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Back to the terminal. Actually, let's get rid of this. We don't need this anymore, and we can use the terminal within VS Code. Oh, should I stop this? Docker compose?
No, you want that to run.
Keep that.
So
running.
that one's got to be running so that the GraphQL Docker container continues to run.
Got it. Okay. So here I'll run it in a different terminal window. So that's done. Okay.
Yep. Perfect. So now we need to add some configuration to this YAML file.
Okay.
To turn GraphQL on. So all the way back up at the top, we commented out a ton of different options to show you, like, this is the basic information to get started, but there's way more you can do. So authentication parameters, session tokens, cross-site request forgery tokens, all kinds of good stuff. The docs at docs.stackhawk.com are really good about describing all of this configuration file.
Very cool. Can I get that URL one more time? That was docs.stackhawk.com.
Got it.
There we go. Dropped into chat. All right. Sorry. Please continue.
Awesome. So after our host line there.
Yep. Make a new one.
So I'm going to try to follow along it. This is my first VS Code share, so I'm trying to be cool here.
If you go to the live share extension tab, like under participants, you should see my name and a circle next to it.
I do.
Click that. It should fill the circle in, and you'll be in follow mode. So anywhere I go, you'll go with me.
Awesome. I see it.
Yeah, cool. All right. So we got host.
So the very first thing we're going to do here is do graph, all lowercase, capital Q, capital L, GraphQL, colon, space, true.
Okay.
So we've turned on the GraphQL scanner.
Okay.
Now let's do an enter. And then we're going to do GraphQL lowercase.
Ooh, got me.
It's capital C conf.
Like conf, like config?
Just like that. And then a colon.
All right.
And then a new line. So, and then a tab. There you go. And so we're gonna tell the scanner where the schema path is. So schema, capital P, path.
All right.
Colon, and then in this particular one, it's standard. So / GraphQL.
Oh, schema path, as in like, how do I get what endpoint? Right, like that's kind of the endpoint.
That's right.
Okay, cool.
Where's the introspection endpoint?
Got it. Ooh, all right.
And then an enter. And then we're going to do max capital D depth, MAX. Yep.
Cool.
And then 7. So
7
this is
layers.
how many iterations and combinations are we going to do? And this gets really unwieldy real fast in a big GraphQL app. So there's obviously some stuff we can do to reel it in. And then an enter here. This is all just high tuning stuff, right? You don't need any of this stuff except for GraphQL true.
And then
if your introspection endpoint is the standard / GraphQL, you don't need any of this stuff.
Oh, that's really cool. So it's just you couldn't, if you have a different schema path, you can add it, But otherwise, you could just turn it on, go with the defaults. You're up and running.
That's right.
Okay.
Yep.
Love it.
Here we're going to do URI.
All lowercase?
Yep.
Okay.
Capital M, max, MAX, and then capital L, length. Sorry, it's all part of the same configuration variable. So
URI max length. Got it.
you got it.
Cool.
Colon, and we'll do 4,000 here. So
4,000 characters in the
4,000 characters in the URI.
Nice. Cool.
And that's all we really need. So from there, we can just save.
Done.
I think VS Code saves all by itself. Yeah.
Yeah, you could turn that on. I don't do it. That scares me sometimes. I'm not,
Fair. From here, we can jump back to the platform and grab that Docker run command.
Okay. Let's do that.
And we're going to change something at the end of this thing.
Okay, so go ahead, paste it in, but don't run it.
Yeah, paste it in, don't run it yet. So explain some stuff here.
Yeah.
Docker run, that -e, we're trying to set an environment variable inside of that Docker container. So this is how we're passing in the API key
which
from
is right here.
Your environment. Yep, from your environment to the Docker environment. --rm is going to remove that container once it's all done running, so we don't have a bunch of Docker cruft laying around.
Yeah.
We're going to mount a volume from the current working directory to a /hawk directory inside the scanner. That's how we're going to pick up the configuration file.
Got it.
And then -it is interactive terminal.
Okay.
So we can see all the cool output.
Yeah.
And then the name of
the container.
Scanning container. So our StackHawk org /hawkscan, which is the name of the container. And then the thing I want you to change here is instead of latest, do :beta.
You got it. Oops.
We've been making a ton of changes to the GraphQL part of the scanner.
Nice.
And iterating really fast. So
yeah,
that's it. If we fire that up, that should start your scan, and then you can click
deploy
in the portal the next button.
Okay.
It's going to go out and get the container and download it all for you.
So essentially, while that's running, oops, I went to the wrong app. While that's running, we can go ahead and continue on. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying.
All right. I like it. I like what you're saying. Oh, neat. And so
this.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so it's running. It knows it's waiting, right? Like this hasn't finished, but once this completes and it does its scan, we're gonna see the result of that here. Is this?
Got it.
Boom. Love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah. And obviously that Docker run command is going to do a Docker pull first.
Yeah, which is what,
if you don't have the image.
Right, which is only slow the first times, but we can see we're pulling all these layers. So actually, while that's going on, which is a nice opportunity, why don't you just kind of like walk me a little bit through the UI and, kind of, what we got going on here.
So this first screen here is uninformative until you have scans. Then it's just all the list of scans that you've ever run on different applications and in different environments with some sorting and picking filtering.
Oh, cool. So kind of like a activity timeline of like the...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What's been happening with all of my apps? What's the latest scan to run? Do I have to do stuff with it?
Yeah.
So sort of the inbox.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And then we got this applications here.
Let's look on applications, and we can see that your application there, if you ever lose that application ID, you can get it back.
Yeah.
You can rename it with the pancake, I think. No, what's that called? I can't remember.
Oh, yeah. What is Meatballs? Or is Meatballs the other one?
I'm going to call it Meatballs, and our UX guy is going to kill me.
I think it might be Meatballs if it's horizontal. Like this is like stacked meatballs. But either way, I call it Meatballs. Yeah.
Anyway. This is a place that you can add more applications. So clicking that add app button will go through that wizard again, so you can create more configurations.
Nice.
Integrations, obviously we've got a couple of integrations we wrote out, and then all of this documentation on how to get into CI/CD pipelines, which is awesome documentation. So anywhere you can run Docker, you can run StackHawk, and then all of those integrations support Docker. So StackHawk runs very well and is published in a few of them, but runs very well in all of them.
That's really cool. GitHub Actions, I love that. Something I've been
GitHub
getting
Actions.
into lately. Yeah.
And then we've got that Slack notification. So we could, if you have Slack, you could wire this up to
Oh,
a Slack channel so that in Slack it would go, hey, we started a scan finished, and here's a summary of the results and a link to the portal in case
perfect.
you got to do anything.
Yeah, that's great.
And then we just recently launched this Jira integration. We're still working on getting it listed in the marketplace, but you can push findings from the platform into Jira so that you can
Cool.
work on those tickets
Cool.
in your sprint or backlog or
Right,
however
right.
you're doing
Yeah,
prioritization.
so when it finds a vulnerability, it's like, hey, we found this, boom, push it right in Jira, create an issue. You can probably, I'm sure, configure whatever you need to for it, who's assigned to labels, all that fun jazz.
You got it.
Nice. That's really cool. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, Docker, right? Am I right?
Yeah.
So let's jump back and just real quick see. So it looks like we're just about done. Awaiting platform response. Look at that timing that I have.
Look at that timing.
Boom. And view on StackHawk platform. So number one, very cool. We could just follow from here, but we've already got it open. So we might as well just go back and look at that.
Voila.
I don't like that. Oh my goodness. We've got so many vulnerabilities.
We found some stuff.
Yeah, we found a lot of stuff.
So obviously we can go through a couple of these things and kind of triage some of these things, and then we make use of our scans management feature, which is super awesome, and I'll show you how that works too.
Okay, cool.
So if you click into that, it will take you to the scan details.
Wow.
So each of those numbers is a URL.
Okay.
And then it's saying we've got some SQL injection, some remote OS command injection stuff, another SQL injection. So I know that this thing is not using MySQL, so that's probably a false positive. But
interesting.
Yeah, and then cross-domain misconfiguration, so the cores stuff that we talked about earlier. Yep. HTTP only site, which is just a interesting warning. Hey, this doesn't do HTTPS, which could be dangerous.
Oh yeah, right? Absolutely. I don't even think like Google won't even let you do that anymore, right? They're like, they warn you if it's not HTTPS.
Yeah,
right?
something like that. And then some of that server leaking X powered by headers, and there's a cross-site scripting reflected down there in the low. It's just guessing, but if you click on, let's say, the remote OS command injection one,
right here.
Yep.
Cool. Wow, look at this.
So what that's gonna do is go, here's the path. Obviously in GraphQL we're working on making this better, right? But the path is always the same.
But yeah, because you kind of want like the resolver path, probably, right? Like,
that's right.
Yeah.
We're working on building that into a better state.
Yeah,
but
that makes sense.
You can see the request here. So the request was a post to that GraphQL.
Yeah.
And you've got the request body down below, which is the query.
Yeah, which was a mutation. Yep. And then some variables. Ooh.
Yep.
Look at that. Look at
so
this.
We told it to sleep. For 15.
That is the best.
That is a frequent Zoom call out in the StackHawk.
Oh, I bet. That's hilarious. I love it. Okay, cool.
But then we can also flip to the response. So up at the top, you can click on the response. You can see what GraphQL actually kicked back out of this.
Yeah.
So this one actually said, hey, I didn't find the command caca.
Yeah.
That's probably a problem. It shouldn't go, hey, I'm looking for this command in my shell from stuff I sent to the GraphQL endpoint.
Yeah, that seems terrible.
So that one's actually one that we could look at at some point. So if you click on the meatballs over on the path there,
right over here.
Yep, we could do a couple of things. We could go, hey, this is a real thing, and I'm never going to fix it, so I'm going to accept the risk of this.
Right.
Or I could assign it to a ticket and say, this actually changes to create Jira ticket if you wire up that Jira integration. But in this case, you could just make a note. So we could do assigned for this one since we want to do something with it probably.
Yeah. And
say, command injection is probably not a good thing, or whatever we want to put into this note, and then we could link it to a ticket. Yeah, exactly. Same type and scope of variable. See, yeah, just like that.
Bam.
And so now you can see that that status changed from, you can't really read it because of our squishiness here, but it's changed from new to assigned.
Yeah, up here. I'm seeing
Yep.
that. So I'll just, because I made it a little smaller, zoom in just for the chat or the stream. There you go. Cool.
And then if you go back a screen, so up by the environment name there you go. That will take you back to that scan overview.
Got it.
And now you can see that that issue is actually assigned.
Assigned. Oh, 1. There we go. Yeah, cool.
Yep. So what that does is tells the platform, hey, I'm going to do something with this, and I've triaged this thing. The scanner understands that too. So the next time the scanner runs, which we could do again,
Yeah.
it will find, if it finds this issue again, it'll go, I found it again, but it will stop trying to bring your attention to it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so it will not highlight that thing in red, and the numbers up top will decrement, obviously. And then it will also do the same thing in the Slack notification, say, hey, there's nothing new here. You've triaged all of your issues.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is super cool because you want to work on the things that are new that you're introducing.
For sure.
And then the rest of it is either risk accepted or we're going to do it later or false positive.
But the scanner knows this now, and so it's just like, hey, I'm just going to put this to the side. We're going to focus on the things that are vulnerabilities but are not assigned or have been accepted.
That's right.
Love it.
And the other cool thing is if you triage all this stuff in here, figure out what you want to do with it, and get them all out of the new bucket, then you can set the scanner to break in CI/CD. So if you say, hey, I want to break on highs, it's only going to break on a new high.
Got it.
And that way you'll sort of know that you have introduced a bug into GraphQL or an HTTP application.
So it's like
from code you committed.
Yeah. So it's like you run it the first time, you see where you're at, what your baseline is. You go through, you accept, you assign, you figure out, and then from that point on, then we can, when you configure CI, like you said, you set it to exit, error out on high vulnerabilities, and then broken build, something's not right. We know it's a new vulnerability because all the rest have been dealt with.
Yeah, you got it.
Man. Neat stuff. This is amazing. So real quick, I wanted to do one thing. I'm going to jump back into this remote OS command injection because I had a question. I'm seeing this cheat sheet here, and I'm very curious about that.
Oh, you're going to love it because it has nothing to do with GraphQL.
Okay.
However.
Yeah.
So the thought process here is to make these way more platform specific as we learn more and more about what people are writing. So these are OWASP cheat sheets that tell you about how OS command injection works and how you can, like this one is command injection,
right?
And how you can defend against it. So while it's not GraphQL specific today, it is good reading if you're like, I have no idea what this means.
Yeah.
And can kind of translate that into how am I writing my app.
For sure. And to be honest, it's not really GraphQL specific because, like, if we think about it, it doesn't matter if it's like a mutation variable or a REST API, variable. Like, the point is like that command is still coming in and being executed, right? It doesn't matter if that's in a REST endpoint or in a resolver. Like, you're still executing commands, which in itself is probably something that you want to address. So, so I think that, it's still extremely useful. And sure, you could add that extra layer on top to kind of help guide people through what that looks like specifically in GraphQL. But this alone is very useful information.
Yeah. So like in our example Ruby app that's out there in public and people can play with that as well.
Yeah.
There's like some SQL injection stuff and some cross-site scripting reflected eventually when we get more information on the platform. We want to be able to say, hey, you've got cross-site scripting and we see you're using Rails. Here's how Rails protects against cross-site scripting.
Right.
And here's how you turn off that protection. So your code should probably have this in it somewhere.
Yeah.
Then you can help troubleshoot all that stuff, which is awesome.
And these are really awesome because, like, if you create an issue in Jira or whatever, you can drop the link from here right into the issue, and whoever's doing it doesn't have to jump around all that information, single place.
That's right.
Very nice. Oh, oops, wrong tab. Okay. All right. So yeah, so we've got this. We know we have vulnerabilities. We know that we can like assign them. We've assigned this one. What should we do with it?
So this is the part where we could go work through this GraphQL code. This one I'm going to rely on you more than me because I'm not really great at
Sure.
GraphQL. I
Yeah.
know how to test it. I can't write it.
Yeah. So this is yeah, great. Let's do that. So what I'm going to do is I'll go back to this one that we assigned and let's take a look at it. Let's see what we can do. So we know that the path is GraphQL, but we have the mutation here, super secret private mutation. So what we can do is so we need input sanitization on that. So yeah, let's go take a look. Let's go jump in. Because I know GraphQL, maybe you'll know the other half of that, which is the sanitization part, and we can kind of take a look at what that looks like.
I'm sure we can get there if we collaborate.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure we can. Okay, so the first thing we've got going on, we've got app.ts. Let's see what's going on in here. So we've got schema coming from lib, GQL schema. So the first thing, I guess actually what we really care about though is where are the resolvers? Let's go find those. It should be probably all in the schema. Let's find out. GQL, here we go. Types mutations, secret mutation.
Probably on a good track so far.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, here it is. Command args.command let results await execute command and then return results. So here is our mutation. This is the one. But just to be sure, let's go take a look at the schema. Types. Oh, it's oops. There's here we go. Okay, so root mutation, fields, super secret. Yep, does connect to secret mutation. That's what I would have expected. Okay, so yeah, we're in the right place. So this is the code. This is the vulnerable code here.
That is the vulnerable code there, yeah. So it's obviously maybe not the best idea to let anybody pass OS commands into your any application to run. So what's more likely that you would want to do here is create a map of commands that you'd want to run.
Yeah, that we would accept.
And go, what was the input that, okay, I will go run my controlled command that way.
Yeah.
Which would be better, or don't let them, or just let them pick options of what do you actually need to do, and then have the commands preset.
Yeah, for sure. Can't remember if this is how this. Oh wait. I don't have a type for this yet. Oh my gosh. It would just be like an object type, right? And then it would be like, how does this work? I haven't done this in a while. String is lowercase. String. I guess it really doesn't matter. Maybe we just do an array. That's probably the easiest thing to do.
An array would work.
Yeah, let's just do that because I'm really bad.
Wonder if chat has any ideas.
Yeah.
Chat, you got any ideas on how we would do this the right way?
I believe it's like this. Yeah. Okay. And then let's see. Yeah, chat, hit us up if you know. Hit us up. Okay. So I think this is it though. I think I've got it. Array of strings. Cool. And then what I need to do is clearly that's not correct anymore. But now we've got this. And it's just squigglies because it was empty, but now it's not squiggly. It's just not being used. So we could say, what commands do we want to allow to run?
Yeah, so here we, like, let's see.
Cow say?
Cow say.
Do I have that installed?
I don't know if you do.
I do not. Oh well.
We could make it super creepy and make it do speak.
Oh, we could. Ooh. I wonder if that will work. Let me see. Speak is just built in, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, no. Saying no. Command not found.
Maybe not.
And it's.
Did they undo that?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Well, we could make it do a directory listing, so we could
Yeah,
make it do a list.
cool. I like that.
Yeah,
So now we have ls. This is our only acceptable command. So
that's right.
now we have our,
So or sorry, go ahead.
oh, absolutely. No, I was just going to say, so now we could add, before we do this, before we do the results, we could make sure that the command that is passed in is safe listed, essentially.
That's right.
Right? Okay, so let's do let safe equals find. Oh wait, I have to do the thing first, and it's not find one. I like went right to low dash, just like habit. So that's gonna be. Oh, and I made this uppercase. I do not want that. Let's fix this real quick. Sorry. I was like doing like a type name, but it's the actual variable. Okay, so we've got command map dot find, and that's going to be command. So if it finds it, we're safe. If it's not, then safe will not be defined. So now we can say if like not safe, return not allowed. Tisk.
Not today, hacker.
Tisk. Yeah. Not today, hacker. I love it.
Yeah, don't do that. If anyone's thinking about writing messages to hackers,
Don't
do
say
that.
Yeah, yeah, because
Yeah,
all you're gonna do
just
is
anger them.
yeah. Yep. All right, cool. So I believe so. This is done, but I think now we will have to restart our Docker Compose container, right? Because we've changed the code, and I'm not sure it's doing like a live reload thing here. So let's.
I don't think so. So
Yeah.
we have to restart it.
Yeah, but that doesn't really matter because we have the container, so it won't take more than a minute. All right, let's do this. So
Well,
it's just
what you would actually do here is if you wanted to do a directory listing, you would write out that whole command in a map. So the ls command would be ls what you actually want to list, or the actual command you want to run.
Yeah,
Just have the user map to the command and never let them control the actual command that's getting passed to the operating system.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Yeah. Yeah. So
this is just our example of
right
how we could fix this particular problem.
So what a real map would actually look like would be like instead of it having be like ls like this, what their command would be like list, which maps to ls or something like that, and then like
which maps to like ls and then the name of the directory
Right.
you actually want to let them list, or
right.
You know, obviously that's not a great example of a command, but
Yeah.
something
Point
like that, right?
being is that's there, but really I think just to pass the check, we just want to make sure that we don't allow that to run unless it's like a safe command.
Yep.
Right. Okay. So this is stopped. So I'm going to restart this. And then once we restart it, we just run another scan, right?
Yeah, let's test the endpoint and see if it works the way we think it does, and then we'll run another scan.
Okay. That's a good point. Yeah, so we'll jump into, and this is why I love GraphQL. Jump into here, right into Graphql, reload it. Oh, well, we didn't change the schema, so we probably wouldn't have had to do that. But let's do this. Let's run this mutation. So we could be like, mutation, run command, and then that is super secret private mutation, command, and then here I'll put something bad, like sleep.
Do cat space / etsy / pass wd.
Pass WD.
As I slur my way into that. Yeah, cat / etsy / pass wd.
Right. So cat out.
So
this dir,
yeah,
because that's like
exactly.
the password or whatever, right? Like
that's a list of users on the system. So
got it.
There's no passwords in that anymore, but it would be a list of usernames on the system.
Got it. Oh, okay.
That's not a good thing.
Yeah, not at all. And so then here is, there we go, standard error. Okay, so let's run it. Oh, that's not good. Let me try. Yeah, hang on. So we got back nothing. Let's go back to This should be undefined if it doesn't find it, right? Okay.
You would think.
You would think. And we're not console logging any of this. Let's do this. We'll do command safe. We'll save that. We'll restart this again. Oops. And then we'll take a look. Yeah, that's interesting. I'm sure it's like I'm missing something. But yeah, so going back to like questions about StackHawk in general and CI, because that's like what I'm most concerned about.
For sure.
If you were going to spin up, oh, well, I guess it wouldn't matter. It's kind of like what we just did here. We said within StackHawk, we set the URL to localhost 3000. So in CI,
Yep.
we would just start up the Docker container just like I am on my local machine with localhost 3000. We run the other container.
In CI, you can do a network bridge if you want to run two Dockers next to each other. So Docker to Docker scanning.
Yeah.
So you set up a network bridge, you'll have a scan me network or whatever. There's great documentation on this on the StackHawk documents page.
Okay.
And attach both containers to that network, and then they can scan each other, and then they both go away.
Got it. Okay, so I'm going to do Docker Compose up, and we'll let that start up. Attaching to Vuln GraphQL. Boom, API started. So we can go back here. We should run this, go back here. I am not seeing, yeah, so something is not right because I'm not seeing my console log. So I'm wondering if this is getting copied over to the Docker container.
We should.
Right, because it's starting, but I'm not seeing where it's saying it's updating the layer that contains.
Oh, you know what? We
the
need
app.
to rebuild.
That container,
We
right?
need to rebuild the container.
Yeah. Okay.
So we gotta do a Docker. Hang on. Docker Compose build, I believe.
All right, let's do it. Oh, you're right. I think that's what it is. Docker Compose build. All right, let's try that.
Good point. Good point.
Yeah, well, once it wasn't showing up twice, I was like, that is definitely the execution path. So it's something. Oh, Control C. I ran Docker Compose up.
You could do that and then do space -- build, so it'll build it and then bring it up.
Even better. That makes life easier.
Says my internal chat team.
Yeah, you gotta have an internal chat team, right? All right, let's see what we got going on. So now we're getting a bit of a different, more output, right? So it's like going through the different steps, and then so it removed this intermediate container. It's rebuilding our container. And then now the changes will be reflected. And now we should get not only our console log, but the proper response within Graphql. Let's find out. Yeah, fingers crossed. Cross fingers in the chat, folks. If you have,
it's not a fun live stream if we don't have stuff not go right.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, if it goes too good, it almost, then they're like, oh, this is staged. Pre-recorded. We're not even live right now. Joke's on you.
It's not even live at all.
Yeah. I'm sitting in front of my computer eating chips, just dropping links in chat.
That's right.
Okay, API started. Let's jump back to here. Hey! Okay.
Look at that.
Yeah. However, the message is that this is not a function. It's still not correct, right? So I want to see what we got in our console log.
Yeah.
Oh, are we getting our logging coming out of here? That's another thing. I didn't even think of that.
Let's see. We could figure that out.
Is there a build command? Because this is TypeScript. But that would be taken care of by the Docker container, one would think. Oh, let me do this. Let me do this. Okay, so here's what I have to do. I have to run TSC. I got to generate the TypeScript, then run build. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I think that's what it is. Bear with
My
me,
good friend
folks.
Adam says logging would come out in the console
Yeah.
where the Docker Compose is running.
Exactly. So ls. Yep. So in here, I'm going to run node run TSC. Oh, geez, what'd I do? Cannot find module app run. Oh, npm run. Dear Lord. Dear Lord. Okay, cool. So that's another scripts tsc. tsc command. Oh, do I have to like npm install in here? Whoa. Sorry.
I mean, it did the whole build in Docker, and so your local machine is probably missing all the npm modules.
Oh, someone said just run tsc. But I don't have that command, so I can't just run tsc. All right. Oh, run.sh. Well, no, that's like starting it. Yeah, it should be npm run. Is node modules in here? No. That's why it's not found. Because there's no node modules. And there's a yarn.lock. Cool. So let's do this. Yarn. Shaboopy.
Now we're cheating a little bit.
We are?
Oh, well, all this stuff was set up to be run in. The example is set up to be run totally Docker.
Oh, oops.
Just to play with, but
might be.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what you would actually do if you were doing development, so it's totally cool.
Yeah, so yarning, and more yarning. Boom, done yarn. 32 seconds, not bad. All right, so now I can say, and that's why the command was not found. Now it is found. Now we're getting somewhere. It's building the app. Build. Oh, no. Oh, I found, errors because...
Because we didn't pass in the server port.
Yeah. Oh, we have to pass that in when we run build? Yes. Yeah, so... equals... We're going to get it. Hey, oh, is it the same error? Uh-oh. Isn't there a way to, like, skip? Expression expected. I don't know what that means. Let me go... Oh, it's because there's no, like, strings, like app.ts. Am I missing a special...
No, right there. Where it says server port, just change that to 3000.
Oh, because it's not running within the container? Is that what it is?
Yeah. And it's so the environment variable thing is a little bit different, I think.
Then it said 27. Oh no, I guess that was just the one place. Okay, let's try again. YOLO. Oh, I don't need
YOLO.
that. Yeah. YOLO's in the chat. I don't really need that server port anymore, but it's there now anyway. Okay, done. Hiya. Boom. We go back up to the root. Docker compose up with the build. Man, it's like bringing me back to back. Ugh. Sometimes I miss like working with Docker and building and running and maintaining a million microservices, and then sometimes I'm like, what is wrong with you? That sounds terrible.
And then sometimes you're like,
Yeah. And sometimes I'm like, maybe I don't want to do that.
Which is exactly how every project starts ever.
Basically.
Sometimes I miss writing Java.
Yeah.
Then sometimes
then you write
Kotlin.
it. Yeah, and then you write it, and then you're like, never mind. Yeah. Okay, so that's running. So we're getting there. That's going to install. And then once that's done, we're going to go back to the second terminal and run another scan, right?
Yeah.
Very cool. Let's do it. Come on, Docker. Oh, I need my friend streams as well, and he has something that's pretty funny. It's like a chat command, and it'll play like elevator music, and he like runs it when he's doing like npm
Oh,
installs
I
or
like it.
yeah, Docker compose up. I need to get on that. It's really fun. Pretty fun way to do it.
That's a
Or
good one.
yeah, I've also been looking at like adding like games, so you can like start a game in the chat. So when like stuff like this is going on, people can. It looks like it ran the TSC command. So now I'm a little. That's interesting.
Yeah, part of the build is running the TSC command.
You would think, right? Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so, well, let's see what happened. Bum-ba-da-ba. Uh-oh. Oh, wait. Let me just in case. Yeah, that's weird. So I don't think it's getting my build. Because, again, I'm not... Yes. What do you...
Do you have Kitematic still around?
I do.
Pop that guy open. Let's see if we can find any other interesting stuff in Kitematic.
Okay. I'm down with that. All right, so let me bring that over. Oh, well, no, yeah. So here's our logs.
Same thing. That's just standard.
Yeah,
standard out.
Just standard out. I could restart it. I don't know if that's really going to help us much. I'm very curious as to why we're not getting the updated TypeScript. So I know we're mounting this volume within the container, and then it's running the TS command within the build, which we saw. So let's bring this back up.
Yeah, it's doing an npm install, npm run TSC.
Yeah, it's seeding the whole database.
And then database seeding, yep.
Yeah, let's see if I can get up to where it runs. Yeah. TSC/GraphQL. That's interesting. Yo! Hello. How's it going? We got people jumping up in the chat. So let's see. What could we be missing? What's this run.sh? Oh, that's like the...
That's the entry point.
Yeah, that's the entry point. That's when we call...
Like, that's when Docker starts.
Yeah.
It does that.
Yeah.
To start up the servers.
Yeah. So here's our build. I'm very curious. It's here. It's in the build, but it's not in the container. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to build the container. But I'm going to... what's that? No cache.
Let's just do a... oh, maybe that's that -d thing we missed. Hold on. Let's see.
Like, let's rebuild all of the layers.
Yeah, I like it.
Okay.
It's a Docker build.
Docker
dash
Docker compose build.
Docker compose build space -- no -cache.
-- no -cache.
Just like that.
Bam. So this will probably take like a second longer. Because it's going to build each layer now.
That's right.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, Docker, fun times. It's like amazing in what it does, but then like, something tricky like this. It could be
something goofy goes weird.
Something goofy always goes weird. But for something goofy always goes weird anytime you develop anything, right? And it's just like, yeah. Hey!
Half of the fun of development.
Yeah, exactly.
Wireframes go, the data goes like this and this and this and
Yeah.
this, and then in the middle you're like, that's not how it works at all.
Yeah, that is not. Yeah, exactly. Or like I love when something's like simply do this. I'm like, that's not simple. There's like 10 steps of things that I'm about to do. Man. Yeah, we're doing.
I'd like to say the StackHawk part of this was simple.
Oh, that was extremely simple.
The Docker part of this has been tricky.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, as far as StackHawk goes, it's been quite a breeze and easy to work with. Which actually reminds me, I want to circle back to something that you mentioned in the beginning when you were introducing StackHawk.
Yeah.
Is that security is not very friendly to the average developer, right? Like it's something like you're a security expert and then you know what tools there are and you know how to use them. And like you said, often it's not as easy in onboarding where you can just like a SaaS, right? Like I've not seen a lot of like AppSec tools that are like SaaSes, if that makes sense.
That's right.
Know?
There's a couple out there. Sneak is a good example of SCA tool, software composition analysis tool. They have a really good onboarding experience, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
We're trying to be cool like they are.
Nice.
And make it easy. And you're right, that silo does totally exist where, and this happens a ton when we talk to customers, and it's hilarious. Like if we're talking to a dev team,
yeah,
they're like, this looks awesome, but my security team will never let me do it.
Yeah.
And then we talk to the security team and they're like, this looks awesome, but my developers will never do it. And I'm like, no. You guys, let's get together. Let's do a little therapy sesh.
Yeah. Same room.
We'll talk it out.
Yep.
We'll get on the same page. And so there's organizations where this is totally what's up and what's going on with development teams where they own AppSec, right? They're the ones that write code. They're the ones that can fix code. Yeah. They're the ones that own the code. So why not own making these decisions as well?
For sure. Yeah. And it's just like I don't know. With anything, I like the path of least resistance, and it's just like the ease of use for people who, because you have teams. You have teams and you have people working at companies and they have security teams and they have all this, but then you have an entire another part of the industry, which is like digital agencies, single app developers, more like that long tail developers, and they get kind of left out because something like StackHawk though, that kind of changes that a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. I think, it's important to not make that lag time that comes with the traditional security model of we developed something and pushed it out to prod, and 2 months later they come back with a giant list of things we have to fix now.
Right. Yeah. Or even worse, you push things out and you don't realize you have to make a fix until you've been hit with some kind of vulnerability and you've had something like data leaks or, you know what I mean? Like something really bad happen.
Absolutely. That's definitely one of the harder ones. Like, and I've been part of those things where you've got to go to dev teams and go, hey, guess what? We're not doing anything for quite some time because we got to fix stuff. And that's worse.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So it rebuilt. I'm rerunning it, but we're still seeing the same thing. I'm not sure why it is not getting my code. It's also weird that it says that is not a function. Very confused.
I agree with you that is weird. Let's see.
Oh, I know what I did. I know why. I know what's happening. And it's a me error. It's a me error. I did find and I passed in the string. Find takes a function. Right? Yeah.
That I don't know.
Yeah, no, yeah. Let's go. Let's find out. I am I am so sorry. Oh,
I like it.
Oh my goodness. Okay. I'm sorry. Okay, so that's fixed. Let's do this, but this time we'll run build. Actually, we might not even need to. I'm just gonna see. I'll do the build because we'll do that.
We have to do the build, otherwise it won't redo the TSC.
Yeah, TypeScript would have caught that bug, but this is TypeScript. So, oh, I just changed it in the wrong place, didn't I? Yeah, I just changed it in the finished code. I need to change it here. TypeScript did not catch that. This is TypeScript. So that's interesting to me. That did not get caught. I don't know why, because I'm not very good with TypeScript. It's something I have been working on, but I'm not very good with it. Okay, so let's do this. Let's do a bit up with a build. But we'll keep the cache, so it should only be one layer. But thank you, Andreve. Yeah, yeah, TypeScript should catch that. Yeah, I imagine that's more of a me problem than a TypeScript problem, honestly.
And I'm super glad we pre-recorded that error into this live stream.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, exactly, right? It was going real smooth up until I had a dummy moment. Yes, I do know how array methods work. Good thing this ain't a whiteboard interview.
It's just one of those things. Happens all the time.
Yeah, and
I do that stuff in Python all the time.
Oh my goodness, oops. Yeah, all the time. Yeah, but you know what's really funny is because I started doing the whole, I was singing Lodash, talking about Lodash. That still takes 2 parameters, but I was like, oh, you pass in the object and then you pass in what you're looking for, and it will just make that work. Okay. Yeah, so that's building. Elevator music. Do, 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 do. Well, everyone on the stream has music. It's just us that doesn't.
Yeah, I know. Instead, we should talk about if you had elevator music to be able to play for the stream, yes, what would it be?
I would probably do like a show's like intro song or something like that, you know? Or maybe like what's that? Or like Jeopardy, like do 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 do. You know?
But Jeopardy is so overused.
That's true. Yeah.
I date myself here. Like the theme song for Greatest American Hero would be good.
That would be good. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I think I would definitely go with some kind of like theme song or something.
I like it.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Or maybe like a song that's about like waiting for someone or waiting for something, you know? All right, so this is built. This is running. So let's go back. Let's hit this
Super
button.
Fingers crossed.
Hey, well we got null. But that's better than nothing. It means it changed. Let's go see if we got our logs. Yeah, I still don't see my console.log. I bet this is erroring. And our response is null. Right? Maybe? Well, we should see this console log.
If it's getting past the not safe.
Right. So what is results normally? Oh, I broke it. That's why. Because it's getting null because results, the return type of results has a standard out and standard error. So what I actually need to do is return an object with standard error as as the parameter, and now we should get this. What do you think? Do you think I got it this time?
You got me.
Yeah, no, this is it. That is definitely it. And in this case, TypeScript helps because when I hovered, I get the type. Like I know the type let results is supposed to be standard out and standard error. STDERR, right? STDERR. So we run this build one more time. This time we're gonna get not allowed tisk tisk. We could just stop right here and like we could jump into the scanning, but at this point I am so dang invested. And I want to see that command come into Graphql that like that, that's what I got to make happen.
It shall not beat us.
Ooh, Beware the Friendly Stranger by Boards of Canada is a great thinking theme song for me. Nice. I don't know that one. The console log is after my return statement. Yeah, so that's why I'm not getting that. Postman 70 or PSTM 79. That's a good point. What extension am I using in Visual? So, Intose Luluped, if you could, and I probably butchered that, but that username, if you could elaborate on which extension you're talking about. If you want all the extensions, like my whole setup, let me just actually get you a link to that real quick. Because then actually you don't have to wonder. So if I go to, the reason why I picked the worst dev is because that's kind of like the name of my blog, and I have a personal Twitch stream called The Worst Dev, and like I just do like a bunch of things. Perfect. There. Yeah, so let me see. What is it called? Everything about what I use? Yeah, what I use. So this is going to have literally everything that I use for everything. Boopity boop. All right, so that's in. And this should be built. Look at that. Look at that timing. Ha, 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 ha. Success.
I like it.
This is what success looks like. Okay, so now what we can do is go into our other terminal. Yeah, right, Entreve. Yeah, we got it. We're cooking now. So now we can run Docker. Run this one, right? The API key. Boom. Let's get our scan going. This is so neat. Isn't that neat? Yeah, cool. I can't believe that took me so long. I apologize, everyone. I just took 20 to 30 minutes of your day, but you know what? It was worth it.
I agree.
Yeah, because you got to watch me.
I even learned something.
Yeah, you got to watch me just be like, huh? Yeah. Oh, I learned something. I learned that I'm the worst dev.
The name of the organization is super appropriate.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you set the bar real low, right? Like if I'm the worst dev, there's nowhere to go but up.
In theory.
In theory. That's true. In theory. That's amazing. Ow, I got like a cut on my leg here. I don't know how that happened. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah. All right, so now we're on our final scan here. Oh, so let's go back to the UI because I'm very curious to see.
Yeah,
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, will it update? Boom. Started. Okay, that's what I wanted to know. That's really neat. So, like, it's already letting me know that it's running, and then when it's done, boom. And so if I had the Slack notification set up, I would have got a notification about this too, right? Like, hey, somebody's running a scan.
Correct. You would have got a scan notification that said, hey, we're running a scan on the name of the app. So
yeah.
Vuln demo, the name of the environment it's
development.
Running in, so development or CI/CD, whatever.
Right.
And when it's all done, it will kick you back the summary of the results, which is actually super cool. That way you don't have to jump into the platform if you don't have anything to do.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like if you get all green, you're good to go. Yep. I like it. I like it a lot. One thing that would be really cool would be like webhook support.
Yeah, we haven't worked on that yet. We just had the first person ask for webhook stuff today. Your scan's done, by the way.
Oh, cool. Yeah. The only reason I'm bringing it up is because lately I've been using Discord a lot, and so it'd be neat to be able to drop stuff in with Discord, but you can do that pretty easily with like a webhook as opposed to like a full-on integration. Okay, cool. So, look at that. It is gone.
Look at what went away.
It is gone. Goodbye. Get out. That's really cool.
So that's exactly how we've envisioned this thing to work, right? You develop some code, run the scanner against it, triage all these findings. One of these guys on this list has got my eye today because it's really false positivity. But
yeah.
triage the stuff, go fix the code, and then commit it and be done with it, right?
Yeah.
Don't have somebody come find you in 3 months and go, hey, did you know there's a command injection in this thing that you haven't worked on for 3 months? Good luck getting back into that context quickly.
Seriously. Yeah, exactly, right? Like code that you worked on months ago. And it's just like, I just want to go back to the CI/CD thing, which is, to me, one of the most valuable parts, which is like getting it before you're in that situation, right? Catching it during the build. It's now part of your systems. It's like showing up on your GitHub pull request as an action that's failing, and it's like, you got to fix this before you can even merge it, you know? Yeah, I love this. This is so great. I'm really stoked about StackHawk. I am very impressed. It's so easy from the StackHawk side. If you remove the developer errors, this was the smoothest setup of like security anything that I've ever experienced.
Yeah, you know what's crazy is we talk to people and they have this preconceived notion of like, it's security tool is going to take me weeks to get set up.
Yeah, that's what I would have assumed.
And then they jump in here and they do this and they go, oh, that took like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
That's sort of, oops, I should have done this earlier.
And
but yeah, that's the whole point. Like, we're trying to make it super easy to use and just start consuming.
Yeah, and it's so cool because like these might show up. So these vulnerabilities might show up, but like you said, you can assign them, you can get to them as you need to, right? Like you can take care of your highs, work through your mediums, right? Because like, yeah, you might not have the ability to drop everything, right? And spend like countless amount of time fixing, you know, a lot of these types of vulnerabilities, you know.
And as a development organization, you should be taking risks.
Yeah.
But being able to prioritize what things you want to take risks on and what things you don't, is you got to know first, and this helps with the know part.
Absolutely. It helps with the know. It helps with the triage. It helps with prevention. You know, it's just, it's amazing. I'm really into those cheat sheets as well, because those are like if I came in here, I set this up, I'm an app developer, I'm like X content type options header missing, sweet. What does that mean? You know what I mean? Like what I don't, cool. You know, or like, cross domain misconfiguration. I mean, I've hit CORS issues, so I'm familiar with that, but I might not be. And it is interesting. Yeah. Are we using SQLite or are we using MySQL in this app?
I believe it's SQLite.
Because I did notice SQLize, so it could be Postgres too, right? Like in theory.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Either way.
I think that SQLite one at the top, if you open that up, this plugin has my eyeballs. Like, it's a timing based SQL attack. This one's gonna get removed out of the scanner here real quick.
Yeah.
What it's doing is trying to set a weight into SQLite and see if it waits for you.
Got it.
And it's so environment dependent. Like, if you've got a low powered environment, the command's going to take longer anyway.
Right.
If you've got high power, so this is going to get some rework.
Gotcha.
I've hit this one a couple times today, and I'm like,
this doesn't really match. Yeah, this doesn't. Yeah. That's. Still, and like you might get some like false positives, and also some of these could be fixed. Like this says like 65, but you add that options header and like a configuration or something in one place, and boom, 65 vulnerabilities go away.
5 things go away. Yeah. So originally we had this kind of bucketed as category findings.
Right.
But then when you start managing findings, it becomes confusing. So right now it's just URLs. How many URLs did we find this thing on?
Yeah.
In this case, it's URL and the query string or the post string. But yeah, you're totally right. So a CORS thing could just be a setting in the app, and it fixes CORS issues across everything. So they all go away.
Right.
And or X content type, or that cookie thing is the same thing, right?
Yeah.
The cookie without the same side attribute. Fix one cookie setting, whole thing goes away.
Yep. Yeah, which is really cool. And so like, it's like important to know. And it's like funny because you can kind of tell like they're the low critical type things, and it's like something that's probably just a misconfiguration, as opposed to SQL injection, which is like code specific, right? Like,
That's right.
something that is quite more granular. Yeah,
Very similar to what we just fixed.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is cool. So I guess, we're coming up on an hour and a half here. I feel like we've been able to go through and kind of get that full picture from front to back and fix vulnerabilities. Go through like what your actual workflow would be if you were doing that, minus not knowing how array methods work, because hopefully most of you out there are a bit better at that than I was today. Yeah, but yeah. So this is really cool. So I guess, my next question is like, do you have anything else you want to share? Anything else that you wanted to highlight that we didn't get to cover yet? Stuff like that.
No, I mentioned it earlier, and StackHawk is still in open beta,
Right.
so it's
Anyone can come on
free for
in.
now.
Yeah, come on in,
Yep.
check it out. So again, because some people might have joined the chat since we've started, so here is the link to StackHawk theirself. If you want to do what we just did, minus spinning your wheels for 20 minutes on array methods, you can follow this tutorial right here. It walks you through basically the same thing we just had going on. Yeah, and then, yeah, that's it. So I guess a couple things from my side. We've got some streams coming up. Normally they're ticking by the bottom of the layout, but I'm noticing that that is not happening. So I need to figure out what's going on there. But yeah, we got a
OBS.
yeah, right, exactly. We've got a lot of more streams coming up over the next month and a half, but the one thing I really want to touch on is GraphQL Summit. So GraphQL Summit is next week. It's a free event conference. It spans 2 weeks technically, so it's Thursday and Friday of next week and the week after. And it's free to register. The schedule is on the site. So let me just drop the link to GraphQL Summit, and then I'll go to graphqlsummit.com. So the schedule, the speakers, all that fun jazz has been released. So go ahead and check that out if that's your bag. And yeah, I mean, with that, I think that's a wrap from our end, right? You feeling good? Are you
Yes,
feeling good with
I
this?
feel great. Unless anyone in chat has questions,
Yeah, yeah.
I'd be happy to answer, and or we can just do it offline, whichever. But yeah, thanks, Kurt, so much for having me. It was super fun to actually walk through fixing something with and using the StackHawk platform with someone.
Cool. Yeah, awesome. I had a blast. It was so much fun. Thank you for your guidance. You made it super easy and clear for me to get through this. If anybody wants to reach Scott, if you have a question and but it comes up after this, his Twitter handle is right here on the layout. It's just Gerlach, so you can just reach him on Twitter as well. Yeah. Hit me up, Todd Libby. Hit me up on Twitter. If you have any questions, GraphQL specific, if you got anything for StackHawk, reach out to Scott. And yeah, I guess with that, we'll let you all get back to your day. And yeah, we'll see you later. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.